I don't have AC.
Hello.
I have no air conditioning.
That's not fun.
You know what? I like it.
You're not gonna like it.
No, I do. I like it. I don't. The one thing I don't do is I don't complain about the heat.
Okay.
I don't complain about summer because I would rather be sitting in my house, sweating my balls off in a heat wave than having to put more layers on shivering. So I'd rather be sweating.
I'm 100% the opposite.
You're the opposite?
I'm 100% the opposite because you're always too hot. If you're too hot in the winter, you can just take a layer off. You can settle down. You can always build up. In the summer, you hit it. You can't be naked. So you hit like a point where you have to keep some. I mean, you shouldn't be naked. That's all I'm saying.
I will say this. My heating system in my house is stupid. It doesn't make any sense. It comes from the ceiling. So I have this weird dynamic in the winter where I have to blast the heat for 20 minutes. Then it gets way too hot.
Yeah.
But obviously when it stops, okay.
It's gone. Yeah.
It's gone.
So you got to.
And then I'm freezing. So I'm constantly going.
A lifeguard chair.
I'm just constantly fluctuating from freezing cold to way too hot to where in the summertime I don't have to deal with that. It's just like I'm sweating my balls off and I love it. It's the summertime. I mean, I love the summertime. I'm a beach guy. I would rather go to the beach than go skiing.
It pisses me off.
Mountains, no. Beach, yeah. Any day of the week.
Yeah, okay.
All day, every day.
I'm not like opposed to it. I agree, but it's like I hate the people who are like always amazed that July is hot.
Well, I don't like when people complain.
Hot.
I don't like when people complain about it. But I guess if you would prefer the opposite, then that's why you would complain. I complain during the cold. So
I don't really complain as much as I go home earlier. I'm like, I'm just done with this fucking day. I want to be in my nice igloo.
You have the AC blasting in here today. It feels great. Thanks for doing that. This is the Danny Picard Show. It's been a while, right? What's it been, a month? Over a month?
About that, yeah. It was a good time to take a little break, though. There's like the doldrums of summer where there's no sports. Well, now we have everything happened.
Yeah.
Every sport.
We got everything going on. We got a lot going on right now.
I got to see your place. You brought me in there, and I got to see
Broadway Golf Club.
I'm amazed.
Work is being done. Construction is ongoing.
I can't wait. Like I really
Things have been delayed. That's just the construction game. I'm telling people like summer 2023. I've been telling people this was going to open since like 2021. And there have been delays and other different situations that have popped up that, me being pretty green to the construction experience, my timetables are not necessarily the timetables of the professionals. And so, right now, I think we're in a spot where we're definitely not opening this summer, but the fall is certainly very realistic, and I'm very hopeful. Look, it'll be a good time, right? I mean, people will be coming off the golf course. They'll want to golf inside. Football begins. We already have training camp starting. There's some Mac Jones stuff we need to get into to continue our Mac Jones
There's some Zappy stuff. Zappy's looking okay.
Look, I'm all about Zappy Mania. You want to go back.
When people
you just can't do it to start the season. Yeah. We'll get into that. There's so much. I got thoughts on Shohei Ohtani. Oh. I have thoughts on Jaylen Brown. I have thoughts on Patrice Bergeron. I have thoughts on Kristaps Porzingis and the Marcus Smart trade. But I just feel like the most important story, though there is something that somebody just sent me yesterday where I'm like, I meant to send this to you and actually open the show up sort of in jest with this. Did you see what's going on out Sully's, out Castle Island with the Seagulls?
Aggressive
Can you pull that
Seagulls.
up? I'm sorry. I meant to send this to you. Maureen Dayhill must have it. Go to Southie, cottonsouthie.com. Somebody just sent this to me and I'm sitting here like as we're verbally going over the list of things we need to talk about. I'm like, shit, I forgot to send you this link to use today. So, but Maureen's got to have it. Because this is major news. Look at what's the headline here? Scroll down. What's the headline? Sullivan's is removing its outdoor seating thanks to aggressive seagulls. Let's read this. Let me read this story here. Let's see. Scene right out of the birds. Customers are dropping their boxes of food and running from the scene, screaming. So consider yourself warned. When heading out, Sully's, walk with a purpose. Make yourself appear big and intimidating, and no stopping to chat with friends and neighbors. Get that food and yourself to a safe space. But what did they do?
She always has a nice.
I'm trying to read around the camera.
What they did, they basically put like police tape around where the seats were, so they're not allowing you anymore with a sign. But and other people are complaining. Well, this is because people have been feeding them. People feed them.
It's not one or two. It can be up to 20 seagulls swooping down from above and attacking unsuspecting Sully's customers. It's become such a problem that the legendary hot dog and burger spot decided to remove outdoor seating. It's currently marked off with caution tape and warning signs for people to watch out for seagulls. Okay, so the camera was in the way of that first paragraph. I was reading the bottom paragraph. So, but what seating are they talking about? Because I was out there the other night. I didn't see this.
See, I was out
So
there.
this is recently, the last couple of days. We're recording this on Friday morning.
I think it's just this, like the seats directly in front of it. You know how there's like those
and
little...
they just put those back again. They took those away for COVID.
Yeah.
Because remember, you had to stand outside. It's ridiculous, right? But then they put those seats back. But did they keep the seats that are over on the side still?
Like the rock seats? Yeah.
No, the rocks. They're not taking the rocks out. They better not take the rocks out.
Like
because those
out?
are my seats.
Yeah,
If I go and eat
those
at
are the
Sully's,
people seats. Yeah.
Like, if I'm going to sit at Sully's, you're not going to see me on a table and chairs out there. I'm sitting on a
Fighting
rock.
a bird. No.
I'm on a rock. And the seagulls are over near the rocks, too. I don't feed the seagulls. There are some real nuts that like to do that.
Yeah.
And I hate the people that will do it. You're sitting on a rock, they're on a rock, and they're feeding the birds right next to you.
Yeah.
I will give that person an attitude every single day of the week. What are you doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think that I want these birds flying around me while I'm trying to eat?
Yeah.
How about a little consideration for the people on the rocks next to you? Yeah. But so this is no joke. They actually removed the seating.
Yeah. Like she wrote it like in jest. Like she got like a subtle humor that I actually quite liked.
Yeah, that was the first paragraph I read. Yeah.
But yeah, it's real. We're soft.
All right, we got to get Harry Markarian out there with the Super Soaker or something.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
but this isn't any different than this is the and pardon my French,
the wussification,
the pussification of America. Yeah. This is it, right?
It is. Just kill them.
Seagulls have been out Castle Island.
Kill them. If they're a problem, kill them. There'll be more.
Okay, let's settle down, Paul. I get it. You don't like seagulls.
No, I'm fine with the seagulls, but if it's an actual problem, it's like the same thing down the Cape. They complain about sharks eating people. Well, get rid of some sails. It's common sense. If you want one thing, like it's just this is the world. Not everything's perfect.
I think we need to distinguish two. There are major differences.
I think it's the same thing. I actually think it's the same thing.
Seagulls at Sully's and sharks down the Cape.
It's the same exact.
Don't swim at the sharks. You can eat with the seagulls. That's my advice. You can eat with the seagulls. They are not. I mean, this is not. Seagulls didn't just show up at Sully's last week for the first time ever in groups. What do we call groups of?
I don't know.
Of gulls.
Let's get that. We got
flock of gulls. Yeah, flock of seagulls.
Flock. Yeah.
Is it seagulls though? Is it?
I wonder if seagull has like a special one.
Does it have like a special
murder
term?
of seagulls?
Either way, the Sully seagulls definitely have their own.
Maybe it's just like an aggressive group.
I don't know. I mean, obviously, we use the word flock, but I just feel like with seagulls, it should be something different. Out Sully's, we should have a different term.
I like that.
Here's what I'm going to ask you, and this is kind of bringing me into the biggest story. I don't know why I decided to begin with this. I really don't. What is it?
The colony.
It's a colony of seagulls.
A colony of seagulls. A
flock and scavenging.
That's probably closer to what should be up there.
A colony of seagulls. None of those things sound right.
I like a murder, like a murder of crows.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, eat at Sully's. You put the fucking seats back out there, guys. Enough.
And shoo the birds away.
Put the seats,
just go.
The table and chairs. I sit on a rock. If they start taking rocks out.
Oh, that would be something.
I mean, look, I actually have you eaten Sully's this year?
I don't like to wait in line, so I almost never eat Sully's.
Have you eaten Sully's this year?
No. I've been up there.
Hey,
I go up there
neither.
3 times a week, but I never eat there.
I haven't eaten Sully's this year. It's a record for me. You know?
How long can you go?
Every year I'm there all the time.
Yeah, you're gonna wait till the dollar.
But I haven't been there this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to get to the WWE as a manager, you know? I have to be able to physically take that bump.
Yeah.
If I'm out there cutting a promo and Brock Lesnar's music hits, I got to be able to take that F5 through the table.
Yeah.
Eating Sully's all the time. It's not going to put me in the
best
shape of my life.
Purely
you know?
lines for me. It's mobbed up there every time.
Here's what I am going to ask you. Are these Seagulls now that are being apparently more aggressive than usual, according to the public, are they non-biologic?
Oh, yeah, I know.
Non-human biologics? What's the phrase? Non-human biologics, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the biggest story. I don't know why I didn't lead with that. Why isn't... Now, the last time we did this show, Paul, we did the...
We poo-pooed
We did the alien stuff. We did the UFO stuff because it was just reports.
Yeah.
But the other day, they had a congressional hearing where there's a dude...
Under oath. That was the whole thing, to get this, because everything was already said before, but this is under oath and on the record now. So now we can progress.
And he's talking about not just UFOs.
Yep.
But non-human biologics.
Yep. And he in his previous interview, he said multiple species, which they didn't bring up, but multiple species.
All right, so that's the biggest story, right? I mean, why are we not...
It's the funnest.
It might not be the funnest, though. But again, we talked a little bit about aliens, and what did I tell you? I said, I don't think aliens are real. And if they were real, I don't think we would know because they'd probably be able to morph into human clones.
Or something. If they have the technology to get here, they got a lot of other technology.
It was a ridiculous conversation. But now that we've actually had a congressional hearing, where there's a guy who's talking, and you want to play the video? Let's play the video, because this is the biggest story. Let's play it. This is from the congressional hearing the other day.
Craft stated earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries. Yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
If you believe we have crashed craft, stated earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
All right, so that's it. It's looping. Okay. Now this guy that was speaking here, to clarify, he didn't see these things.
No.
He interviewed witnesses
who still work in the program.
I think he said about 40 people, right?
Yep.
Who all said the same thing and told him that what they saw. But then there's more disturbing comments that come out of this man's mouth when he was interviewing these witnesses who saw these non-human biologics. And it's disturbing because he describes a situation that seems somewhat intense, as if these non-human biologics were harming somebody.
Yeah.
In the room that they saw. They did something to someone in an aggressive nature that was confrontational.
Yep. And he previously alluded that it was like mental. It was in the mind. So it's
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see that. Let's watch that video.
You said that there has been harmful activity or aggressive activity. Has any of the activity been aggressive, been hostile in your reports?
I know of multiple colleagues of mine that got physically injured. And the activity, and I got
by UAPs or by people within the federal government?
Both.
Okay, so there has been activity by alien or non-human technology and or beings that has caused harm to humans.
I can't get into the specifics in an open environment, but at least the activity that I personally witnessed, and I have to be very careful here because they tell you never to acknowledge tradecraft, right? So what I personally witnessed myself and my wife was very disturbing.
If you believe we have crashed craft,
that's disturbing, right? That's if it's true. Now we don't know if it's true
exactly,
but the fact that it's happening at a congressional hearing under oath,
it's different now,
and we're giving it this much credibility. It makes me sit back and go, why isn't every top story about this This should be 24/7.
But
every single channel.
You know why though? Because the government.
No, I don't.
I think it's just because people are so fed up with the government. No one believes anything to the point where we don't believe aliens.
Where people think this is just like, look
It's
over
a
here,
smoke
don't pay
screen.
attention to the Hunter Biden stuff.
Which I honestly think I don't think it maybe is completely just the Hunter Biden stuff, but it is that. Because what's more logical? That we don't really have evidence. There's cameras everywhere. We don't have any good evidence that there's aliens. We have a lot of evidence that the government hides shit constantly. Like, we have a lot of that. So why wouldn't they hide some weapons program or some propulsion program? Why wouldn't they do that?
But I have a problem with the way we're going about this because this representative, is it Nancy Mace? Was it Mace?
Yeah, Mace.
Mace. Representative Mace. Or Congresswoman Mace. Miss Mace. I don't know anything about this woman.
No, I don't know. No.
But I saw her on the news last night, and they were asking her questions as to if she got into anything else. And she's like, oh, well, we ran out of time. And I'm like, you ran out of time? If this shit is true, we're all running out of time. Somebody get down on that floor in Congress, step in front of this guy, Mr. Grush or Gorsh, whatever his name is, and say, hey, listen, buddy, what the fuck are you talking about?
Well,
Do you know what you're saying right now? Because what you're saying right now changes everything about people's religious beliefs, about the anything that anybody has ever believed on this planet.
Everything's changed.
Changes if what you're saying right now under oath in Congress is true. So can we all cut the shit? Stop timing everybody. We're putting a time on this congressional hearing. This dude's telling us he saw non-human biologics harming other humans in an aggressive fashion. Forget about that. The fact that he's saying they even exist is a game changer. So can we just change the rules of Congress for a minute to... we don't even want to talk to this guy. Let's talk to the actual witnesses.
That's the
why
next
aren't
step.
we doing that?
Well, because they have to give them, because they're still working these programs. So there has to be further assurances that their careers won't be harmed or their lives won't be harmed. Because this is, so that they need further assurance. He also said repeatedly he would tell and show more information in private in a private setting.
Yeah, he was calling it a skiff.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck is a skiff?
I had to look it up.
What is it, just like a private meeting afterwards?
Yeah.
That's off the record?
Yeah.
That's so stupid.
Yeah.
Like, you want us to take this serious. You're giving this credibility now, bringing this to Congress.
It's still important, though, because now it's on record. Now we actually have those three men were under oath. They weren't just on the Joe Rogan Experience, where you could have got 95% of this information if you just
was the middle guy the main.
No,
he wasn't on.
He was not, but he did.
The other guy was.
Fravor. Yeah. But this guy did a lengthy interview with, I think, some British news place, but you can watch that interview too, where he gives you a lot more in that.
I'm not going to watch that, but what is he saying in that? It's not under oath. So
12, exactly. He's not under oath. That's the problem. 12 crafts, at least 12 crafts that they have. One was taken from, the last one that you can talk about was from 1933 that Mussolini found. And then the United States government.
All right, so this guy's going deep.
Yeah, exactly.
This guy's going deep. I'm more concerned about he's interviewing witnesses. It seems to be somewhat recent.
Yeah,
not going all the way back.
Well,
to
that's
that.
what he said. He can't speak on anything after 1933. That one. But other than saying that I think he said 12 craft.
Mm-hmm.
Some that they recovered from crashes, and other ones that were archaeological digs.
Who's the guy that was on Rogan that really opened this thing up?
Tom DeLonge from Blink-182.
No, Bob.
Oh, Bob Lazar.
Bob Lazar.
And
all of the stuff that
Jeremy Corbyn. The other guy.
Yeah, he loves.
Yeah, he was there.
And he wants it to be true, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It feels like he wants it to be true.
Well, that's the thing that stinks. I want it to be true, but I don't believe it's true. I just don't. I can't. All right,
so you're not giving this much credibility, even though it's in Congress under oath.
Well, no, I don't believe they're lying. I believe that Fravor saw what he saw, and I believe the radar that they haven't given us yet recorded something very special. But that doesn't mean it's not human-derived tech to me. That just
but I'm not even concerned about the flying objects anymore. That's not the biggest thing.
Well, but the biologics
thing
only
to
came
me
from
is-
this guy, which was he's only repeating what he was told. So now
He's repeating what he was told, but we're doing it in this setting, which gives it that major credibility.
oh yeah,
So even someone like myself who's a alien skeptic, and I told you I don't believe that's real, the reports. Now that I'm seeing it and hearing people talk about it under oath,
yeah.
it's like, well, wait, hold on a minute. Non-human biologics, and there's an aggressive nature that these creatures have towards humans?
Something of a Havana syndrome that they've said.
Okay. That's the top story.
It's pretty wild, yeah.
Jaylen Brown extension doesn't mean anything. Patrice Bergeron retirement doesn't mean shit.
I know, if aliens are real,
Like if this
sports ain't
if this is a real thing that we're talking about in Congress, and we're like, oh, time's up.
Yeah. We got to do...
No.
We got to do the
Time's
food
not up.
budget now.
Get to the bottom of this.
Yeah.
This is all that matters. And I guess...
But you know that's why like the under oath thing means less to me, because like we got Mitch McConnell something. He just turned off for 10 seconds. I don't know what the hell happened to him.
I think he's as old as dust.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think
he had a stroke.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened. Or he was shitting his pants or something.
No, I just think he was like,
Yeah. No, but I'm just my point is
he had a stroke.
My point is I don't even really there was only 2 or 3 of them that really took this seriously. I don't think this is actually being taken seriously. I think this is like it's a smoke screen. It's just a massive another smoke screen.
Yeah, but who's creating the smoke screen?
I don't even think they like worry about like we're covering up a story. I think every once in a while they just put out nonsense just to have me and you talking about it and regular people talking about it.
So that we're not talking about something else.
Something else, yeah. But I don't even.
But are you saying this is a Democratic ploy to take the heat off of?
I think it's the
Biden's. Biden
I
situation?
don't think it's that.
Some people think that. I don't.
I think it can be useful for that. And I don't even think it's Democratic or Republican, but I think they just kind of shit these things out every once in a while, put clouds of nonsense out just so people pay attention.
Just so we're not talking about
anything. Record inflation.
Another former presidential chef that drowned.
Yeah, exactly. And a Clinton one died too, which is weird. I don't know what the hell's going on there, but
yeah. Well, you could assume. I mean, look, I
assume nothing.
A lot of it's
assume nothing and everything. It's one of those.
A lot of it is very strange, and we could get conspiratorial. But let's wrap this up with. I sent you a screenshot today. We might as well talk about it since we're talking about governmental conspiracies. And what's one of the greatest conspiracy theories out there that I know me and you love, Paul, and we talk about it all the time. And I'm almost obsessed with it. Anytime I see a JFK assassination storyline, I'm reading it, I'm watching it, I'm obsessed with it.
Because it's really like the first...
And I've been like this for a long time with this situation. And now you have RFK Jr. running for president. And he's on the record on all these shows talking about how the CIA killed his dad, CIA killed his uncle, JFK. He's not shy about it. He's not pulling any punches. He's coming out and telling you, here's the evidence that I saw. And here's what happened.
And he has
Throw
quite
your conspiracies out the window. Yeah. There's no conspiracy. He's saying the CIA killed members of his family. And now he's running for president. And today... Look at this tweet that is out there today. I'm ducking with the camera.
I get it. It says, since the assassination of my father in 1968, candidates for president are provided Secret Service protection, but not me.
I get this. Typical turnaround time for pro forma protection requests from presidential candidates is 14 days. After 88 days of no response and after several follow-ups by our campaign, the Biden administration just denied our request. Secretary Mayorkas, I have determined that Secret Service protection for Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is not warranted at this time. What? What do you mean it's not warranted at this time? It's warranted, especially at this time.
Especially him.
It's never been more warranted than this time right now for him. I mean, it should always be warranted, just given the history of what happened to his family members.
Yeah.
But Now he's running for president, and he's going on all these shows, and he's saying all these things. At this time, we have determined that Secret Service protection for Robert Kennedy Jr. is not warranted.
You can almost hear the wink.
What do you...
It's like...
Yeah, what? And I texted you this, and you said to me, it's almost like they're not even hiding it anymore.
Yeah.
They're not even trying to hide it.
They don't care. I just like, I think they know like they got us. They just can do whatever the fuck they want.
I mean, that is some wild shit.
And I don't even think I think actually he's probably safer in a weird way because not because of not having this.
Well,
but
now they can't.
Exactly, because now they can't. But I almost
Now he can't get whacked by them.
But don't you think it's a threat to him? It's like it's kind of saying like, "Yo, we control this shit. Shut the fuck up." Like there's a bit of tough guy in this.
I just think that it's borderline un-American.
Yeah.
To not give a presidential candidate, especially this one specifically, given the background and the history, it's un-American to not give him Secret Service protection.
Yeah.
Like what?
But they don't respect him at all. They.
But that's the point. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. But
there's a protocol, and then there's just being a decent human.
Yeah, I don't think they do either of those anymore.
So you don't want to be decent humans.
There's no more
and you
protocols.
don't want to respect the protocols, and you want to be un-American. And again, this is a guy whose family is historic in the government, and you still say no, it's not warranted. Mind-blowing stuff. I don't understand it. How is it not warranted?
I think it's almost they won't debate him. They've already said no debates. So what they're saying is this is not even a real candidate. He's not really running for president. This is like a joke rich guy thing that he's doing.
What do you think it is a joke?
When I hear him talk as much as I want, I like part of it, but there's a little bit of I think this guy's went too far down the rabbit hole. It's one of those
I
things.
am going the other way the more I listen to him.
Okay.
The more I listen to him, I'm like, well, it's easy. Look, it's easy. What do we do in this country? We label people to silence them, and that's like one of his big things. He's like, they're trying to label me to silence me.
And they have.
We can say that about a lot of people. They've been, you throw labels on someone, and then suddenly they're canceled. It's cancel culture, right?
Yeah.
And that's what they're trying to do with him. And I won't lie, at first, you see all the headlines and the quotes, and you believe the labels.
Yeah.
But then as you hear him talk about it, especially about the vaccine thing, where they just say, he's anti-vax.
Yeah.
He can't be taken seriously. So that means nothing that he says can be taken seriously because he's anti-vax, he's anti-science. Now, when you actually listen to him, he's anything but anti-science.
Yeah.
So that's wrong.
He's pro-safe longer
He's
term.
not anti-vaccine.
No, not.
He's pro-vaccine safety.
Exactly.
And if there's a certain vaccine that doesn't have those safety protocols correctly in place, then he is against forcing that on people.
Yeah.
Specifically children. Right?
Especially for children.
And so he's not just out there going, never get vaccines, don't do... No. He's out there actually promoting the safety of vaccines.
Yeah. And science.
And science.
Yeah, true science.
But you would never get that if you don't listen to him.
No, you're right.
And I even listened to one of the interviews he did on a news station where they were on stage in front of a live audience. I don't know, were they in New Hampshire? I don't know where they were.
I'm not sure.
But did you see this? And the woman kept like pressing him on things, and he's like, no, you're not listening to me. Like, we took HHS to court and said, provide us with the documentation that shows the proper safety protocols are in place for these vaccines. And they couldn't give us a single example of it in a court of law.
Yeah.
If there's ever a time in which you should be showing that paperwork, that's the time. When you can't do it, that's a problem. That's not him being anti-vaccine. That's him being pro-safety.
Yeah.
There is a difference. You're never going to get that difference from him, though, if you just read the headlines and you see the labels that they've wanted to put on him. And so at first, I believed those labels, I believed the headlines, and I was like, oh, this guy's a wacko. But the more I watch him, the more I talk about even some other things, I go, wow, this is a serious candidate. And I didn't think we'd be saying that, even as we joked about it a little bit on this show, right? I did not think we'd be saying that. And I know you say, well, they think he's a joke candidate. I think this shows the opposite. I think this shows they know he's a legitimate candidate, and they are trying. They're trying to let people think they believe he's a joke candidate by not providing him this.
I could believe that.
But internally, they're like, shit. This guy is saying everything that normal people want to hear.
Yep.
Like, and have been sort of begging for, right? It's kind of like the Tulsi Gabbard effect.
Yeah.
That I look at her.
Who also got demonized and ripped apart.
She got
too.
labeled and demonized, and she was called the Russian asset.
An agent of Assad.
And you believe that stuff, right? It's easy to believe that stuff.
The lady,
when the media is pumping it out.
Yeah.
But then when you listen to her and you look at her background and you see the things that she's said and you look at the long form interviews that she's done and what she actually believes in, and you're like, how did they get that out of this?
Because they can.
Oh, because they don't like this.
Yeah.
Because they know everybody else is going to like it.
But the problem is they also control everything. It's going to be the same problem. They won't debate him. He will be silenced because they've already have a system set up because they did it to her. They did it to Bernie, you could argue. Like they've
yeah.
I
mean, it wasn't as harsh because I think he took the payday.
He was compliant. He was
took
compliant.
the money.
Yeah, he was definitely compliant. But they've shown like a system that they can do this, that they can give a certain number of people, which is probably the majority, their story, and they can sell them that story to the point, like you said, like if you just pay attention to like the little inklings that you hear about a name, he's just a nut job. But
he says some things.
Yeah, there's some questionable things. The Rogan
But who
interview,
doesn't?
No, exactly. That's another point too. And I think it's like all these things are lesser of evils, and maybe it'd be a good time to dial back our reliance on pharmaceuticals and that whole industry right now. So maybe it's good just for that.
Who is what's the podcast? I might have sent it to you. He's done a bunch of podcasts. The Rogan was good. The problem I had with the RFK Jr. Rogan interview was they saved the best stuff for like the last 3 minutes of a 3-hour segment with the
and just rushed through it.
Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yeah.
And Bay of Pigs with his uncle. And they did like 3 minutes on it. And they just didn't even.
No, I know.
They skimmed through it, and I was like,
I don't think Rogan was ready for it too. Like you can tell when he's not prepared around a subject.
It was too much vaccine talk on that.
Yeah, exactly,
episode.
exactly, and that's what. In some of the stuff he said, it's not 100% true. So it's like that's not a good thing to do either. That's not good. You have to be a beacon of truth if that's what you're trying to do.
Yeah, it's
you got to be.
You can't bring all of this stuff to the table and then be an assumption guy with it.
Exactly.
Right?
You can't.
He kind of gets to the assumption.
You can't.
He gets into assumptions a little too much.
Yeah.
And that's
what I felt too.
That's where you're giving the other people fuel to their fire where they can label you as a nut job.
Yeah.
That you're giving them fuel.
They can cut a 45-second video where you're
he's throwing out an assumption.
This is all bullshit. Yeah. Like you can see where he got it, but it's still bullshit.
No, the Rogan wasn't the best interview for him. The best one was, who's the kid who wears the same suit every time?
Oh, Lex Friedman. Yeah, that was the best one. I agree.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Because they do, and again, this is, I guess, the stuff that I'm interested in just as like a JFK historian, where it's like, he gets into what his life was like as a kid, as a young adult during the Cuban Missile Crisis, and some of the stuff that he was hearing and seeing behind the scenes, and that stuff was like mesmerizing to me to watch him talk about that. And he goes on that's a good like 45 minutes in the middle of that podcast.
Yeah.
So that's the one that really was the best in my opinion that he's been on. I'm trying to think. He was with Bill Maher. He was on. They sit in the couches in his living room. That was okay. What other one? But he's all over the place. He is a serious candidate. You're going to deny him Secret Service protection?
Yeah. They'll 100% they would.
That's crazy. That makes no sense. It's just un-American.
But does it surprise you? Because I would say,
it does, Paul.
It really does?
It does surprise me.
So
we're not talking about...
You're more optimistic than I am.
We're not talking about... I could see if he sent a request for a debate and they were like, no debates. It's like, okay, that's essentially election interference. But I mean, Democrats and Republicans have been participating in election interference since the very first election. And
plenty of incumbent presidents have declined debates before. It's not.
I mean,
not
that's
the
not
first
new.
time. No.
But the fact that since the assassination of RFK in 1968, candidates for president are provided Secret Service protection. They're not going to give it to him. And the quote.
Wouldn't you want to know if Chris Christie has it? Something like that? Because who I would also consider a nothing candidate. Wouldn't you? I would be interested to know if he has it. And I bet he does have it.
Yeah, I bet if he asked for it, they would give it to him.
Yeah, exactly.
I bet they would give it to him.
That's the real question.
Hold on, but it's so stupid. Why wouldn't you, if somebody felt like they weren't protected, especially if they're a public figure, especially if you're a public figure whose father and uncle were assassinated, potentially by the government, why wouldn't you want him to why wouldn't you want to make him feel more safe?
You would think if it was a regular playing field, that's what you would do.
I am shocked that they're not going to do that. Oh, he doesn't. Yeah, we don't want to run against him. We don't want to debate him against him, but we can understand why he wouldn't feel safe right now. Yeah, give him Secret Service protection. It would make you look good.
Yeah. I don't think they care, though. I really don't.
That's scary shit.
Everything's scary right now.
That's scary. You know what's scary? Even more scary? Jaylen Brown has the highest contract in the history of the NBA.
In no left hand.
And he can't dribble. No,
he can dribble, but he doesn't have the highest paid left hand of all time.
You can't let me get away with that comment because this is not. We're not looking at the Jaylen Brown contract in a vacuum. He was eligible for a supermax. The timing of it,
exactly.
The timing of it is why he's receiving the largest contract in NBA history. Yeah. He's not going to have that title for long.
No,
there's going to be a new contract soon. Yep. It might even be. Is it going to be this offseason? I don't know. Maybe. If it's not, it's definitely going to be next summer when Jason Tatum gets an even larger supermax contract. But you have the max, the supermax. If you have a guy like Jaylen Brown who's eligible for the supermax, Jaylen Brown should not be the highest paid player in the NBA, but because of the timing, the circumstances, and that he's eligible for it, and you do want to keep him around. If you're the Celtics, you're not going to no, we're not going to give you that. I could see if he wasn't eligible, then you obviously don't give it to him, but he's eligible for it. Everybody who seems to be eligible gets it. I don't think, if you're the Celtics, I just think you'd probably be stupid not to give it to him, but at the same time, it
scares you.
I mean, it is ridiculous that that type of money is being tossed around to players who aren't even top 10 plays in the league.
Yeah, see, that's the scary part. It almost reminds me of like the Pedroia thing, but even on a worse level, because you have this guy forever now, and he's not shown enough that he can be that guy for a long period of time to me. It terrifies me. I
have to be careful, too, because I do like Jaylen Brown, and I do want him to be a part of this core as they try to win a championship. They're going to make another run next year. And I think he's a big piece to that. There are some players I would trade him for, only because you got to match salaries in a trade, and you got to give up something to get something. And Damian Lillard would be that guy, right, that's available, though it sounds like he's going to Miami. Lillard would be that guy I would send Jaylen Brown. But again, in a perfect world, I'd rather keep Jaylen Brown and still get Damian Lillard to be with Brown and Tatum.
Exactly.
You just can't do that.
Not anymore. Now you can't.
I don't want to make this sound like I'm just sitting here knocking Jaylen Brown. And by the way, I probably do have to mention this too for the people, speaking of in the last segment we just did, with people that like to throw labels on others in this country and try to use those labels to silence them. We have to compartmentalize analyzing and criticizing Jaylen Brown's contract as an NBA player and being eligible for the Supermax and the stuff that he does off the court. Yeah. Obviously what Jaylen Brown does and wants to do moving forward off the court in this community is fantastic. He's a guy who's, I feel like, is very rare in the professional sports world, where he puts his money where his mouth is. He's not just posting on social media, oh, I care about this, I care about that, and then does nothing about it.
No,
That's not him.
I completely agree.
And I think we need to applaud somebody who does put their money where their mouth is, because
most don't.
there's a lot of people. You're right. Most don't. So Jaylen Brown holds this press conference to announce this big 5-year, $304 million contract, the richest in NBA history. And he gets into the social issues and what he wants to do with his money, with the community, with the neighborhood, with the kids in this town. And
all great energy.
And it's fantastic what he wants to do, but he could still hold that press conference and do those things if he was making $10 million a season. Yeah. Like, to me, criticizing the contract isn't criticizing what he is looking to do off the court, because he's going to do what he's shown. He's going to do those things anyways.
Yeah.
That's just the type of person he is. And we have to applaud him for that. So when I criticize the contract, I'm talking about the on the court stuff, because that's what it's about.
And it's more how far they're going to be up against the salary cap with just him and Tatum in a very, very short period of time. That's the scary part. It's just how little flexibility they're going to have going forward. Every person they slot in is going to have to be a perfect pick.
So Tatum, look, this week it was a great week for Jaylen Brown. Good for him. I mean, I in a vacuum, like.
Yeah, great for him.
Yeah, look, you get the largest contract in NBA history, and you're not even a top 10 player in the league.
Yeah.
I mean, you're an all-star. And
still room to grow.
You're eligible for the Supermax, so you got to tip the cap for that.
Great agent.
Not everybody's eligible for the Supermax, or not everybody becomes eligible for it. And the Celtics give it to him. Great week for Jaylen Brown. Even better week for Jason Tatum, because
he's
thinking, oh, what am I going to get next summer, right?
Exactly.
And you add those two pieces with those two contracts to a team that now has added Kristaps Porzingis,
which makes little sense to me. If he's healthy, it looks fine, but I just feel
like with the Celtics, we're not able to criticize anything. Like, we're not able to criticize the Jaylen Brown contract. We're not able to criticize the Kristaps Porzingis. Maybe I'm just reading the wrong stuff, but I feel like nobody criticizes what the Celtics do enough. And when I look at what they did to get Porzingis, I see it this way. They weren't looking to give up Marcus Smart at first. The deal was Malcolm Brogdon. Brogdon was being traded. And I think Brogdon was going to the Clippers in a 3-team trade.
Okay.
Maybe. And the Clippers were like, no, you know what? He doesn't have a clean bill of health. We don't like this. We don't like this report on his health. He's not physically capable. We don't actually want Malcolm Brogdon. This deal's done. And the Celtics found themselves, in a situation where they were going to get their guy, and now they're not getting their guy. And then they had to give up even more to get their guy.
Yeah.
But that showed me when they ended up giving up Marcus Smart after the Malcolm Brogdon deal went through, this wasn't about who they were giving up. It was about their obsession with getting the guy they wanted. It's very clear that Brad Stevens is obsessed with Kristaps Porzingis if he is willing to give up arguably the heart and soul of the organization. You talk about, we're mentioning Jaylen Brown with off-the-court stuff to help the community.
Same guy.
Marcus Smart, same thing.
Yep.
He's a guy that puts his money where his mouth is off the court in the community, and it's a great thing. Well, they don't have any problem dishing that guy off to get the guy that Brad Stevens is obviously obsessed with. And I know Kristaps Porzingis had a career year points per game last season, but this guy is like
it's not.
The European Band-Aid. Like, it's mind-blowing to me that you would trade Marcus Smart to get Kristaps Porzingis, who's a quick left turn away from probably never playing again. The knee issues, the leg issues that this guy has had. Now, there was a point in time when he was about to get drafted, I remember thinking, I want the Celtics. What draft was that? I was on WEEI the night of that draft, while that draft was going on. I want to say that was the year that we took Terry Rozier.
Oh, yeah. I think it
with
was.
Like 18 overall, 19 overall.
It was, yeah.
And I remember sitting there going, because was that the Jahlil Okafor year too?
think so.
76ers took Okafor. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe I'm making. I know I was on WEEI live doing a show during multiple drafts.
But the point is, a lot of things have happened since then.
But the night of the Porzingis draft, I remember going trade up to get Porzingis. Trade up to get him. Maybe it's not the. You think that sounds right? The Rozier,
I think it's Rozier.
Terry Rozier draft. Who I wish was still with the Celtics too. By the way, I wish they never got rid of him. I liked Rozier. And they could use a point guard right now because I don't know
who's yeah.
It seems like now they have to mend the fences with Brogdon too. I read something and the tone was kind of like, eh.
I think that's quick to get over though.
I don't know.
Not for every guy though. I don't know the man. So
it depends. I mean, if you're and I say this because I have this attitude too, as somebody that is just constantly grinding and maybe feeling slighted at times when it comes to opportunities not coming my way, where I have built up this fuck you attitude.
Yeah.
In the business world, where it's like, oh, you don't want me? All right. That's the worst business decision that you'll ever make. See ya. You're in my way.
Yeah.
And that's me. Dude, I'm a fucking nobody. And I feel that way. Imagine what an ego-driven professional athlete feels like, who's a sixth man, wants to be a starter, but he's sixth man of the year coming off the bench with multiple teams. Now they're trying to move him. Then that team he was getting moved to didn't want him. It's like, well, who fucking wants me? Oh, you guys don't want me?
It can go a lot of ways, right?
So yeah. I think that's a fence you got to mend. I don't know that that's an easy thing to do. But again, back to the Porzingis. Just
he has to have a perfect season for this to work. That's the problem. And do you buy he's gonna have a perfect season? And it scares me. I don't know if I don't trust Brad Stevens enough or something, but I don't trust him to get the right guys here. I just don't. Like all his extras that he brings in, they only kind of work. And you have such a small.
Well, now money's tight too.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So now you have such a smaller window of like you just can't fuck around. You can't have dead money. You can't have any dead money on these books now. Like you can't have Porzingis gone for weeks at a time.
I just don't understand it because, and
Horford's breaking down. Like they're not.
Look, we talked about on the last show, maybe a little over a month ago, about Smart and how in the playoffs this year I was telling you, you know what? I'm almost done with them. But I say that in the moment where I'm frustrated with some of the things that are going on when I'm watching that Miami series. And, I'm not able to pull myself out and think logically. And even I get so caught up in the moment that even at points in time, I forget that last summer, they were 2 wins away from an NBA championship?
Yep.
And so they were a couple wins away from an NBA championship with Marcus Smart. So let's not act like, oh, you needed to definitely bring somebody in,
but he wasn't the problem.
Marcus. That's what I'm saying. He wasn't the problem. But I just don't know that you can rely on Porzingis' health because he had one season last year that was a bounce back. Look, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I didn't even know he was doing that last year.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I didn't.
I had to look it up because I thought he was just
a guy that was always hurt.
Injured. Yeah.
And so maybe I'm wrong with that, but I don't think I am.
Well, the problem with Marcus Smart last year wasn't Marcus Smart. He was doing too much. And I know that's part of his nature, and you have to pull that back. But he wasn't doing too much. He was doing too much because no one else was doing enough. Like Marcus Smart was jacking up threes because no one else was they were giving him the ball and not like it's Marcus Smart when he's Marcus Smart, when he's playing good defense, occasionally throwing up a three. He's a perfect player. And a player, I think, that's the kind of guy you look at, like, that's why we won a championship. That guy. That's the guy who gets us over.
Yeah, I don't like the move.
I don't like it at all.
I don't like the move. I mean, I think if you were bringing somebody in that, to me, there's too many health questions with Porzingis that he's had in the past that I'm like, are you overreacting to one season that he just had with the fucking Washington Bullets or whatever, the Wizards or whatever, right? He was with Washington. Are we just overreacting to this? But again, if you're willing to, the Brogdon deal didn't go through, well, you still got to get your guy, and you're willing to then like go above and beyond to get your guy by trading Marcus Smart to Memphis to get Kristaps Porzingis? You're telling me you're obsessed with Kristaps Porzingis, and I'm sitting back going, why?
Exactly.
Why? I just have this feeling like Marcus Smart is now going to take the Memphis Grizzlies to the Western Conference Finals next year, and the Celtics are going to have an injured Porzingis, and they're going to be out in the first or second round. And you're going to be sitting there wishing you had Marcus Smart.
Yeah.
Because Brogdon doesn't want to play for you anymore.
He might not.
And
you lit a fire under Marcus Smart. That's not a guy he's a guy who takes slight and builds on it.
And I also feel like if there's and I meant to say this, but I didn't as I was talking about Brogdon feeling slighted with the trade that fell through. If there was one guy on the team that was going to pull Brogdon aside and be like, hey, cut the shit. We got your back. You're part of this team. It would be Marcus Smart.
Yep.
Who's doing that now? I mean, Tatum and Brown doing that? I don't know.
I mean, hopefully
I'm not sure.
They step further up. They're going to have to.
I mean, Brown better. He's the highest paid player in NBA history.
It's still great.
It's such a ridiculous thing to say, right?
But
again,
smart,
the situation.
Yeah. Remove.
I have to pull myself back from the criticism.
Remove the player from the contract.
It's okay to criticize it.
Yeah.
But you do have to.
No one hates Brown.
No.
He's who we want. We want 1 and 2.
I have more of a problem
there.
with the NBA system of paying these guys.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
To even be in a situation where that's. Here's actually the best thing about the Brown signing and making him giving him the largest contract in NBA history, $304 million, 5 years, is that we no longer have to look at that loser Nikola Jokic as the highest paid player in NBA history. This guy, sure, on the court, he's a winner, he's a champion. We didn't get to talk about this because it happened right after our last podcast a little over a month ago. This guy, everybody's like laughing at this. Paul, I can't tell you the last time I was this upset with something. When I'm watching the NBA Finals and I'm watching the Nuggets win the championship and I'm watching Nikola Jokic, instead of celebrating,
just
walks over, shakes everybody's hand on the other team, pulls his shirt over his face, wipes some sweat, goes over, does an interview. It's like, good, the job is done. Goes to the back, does a press conference, is asked about the parade that everybody in Denver can't wait for because they're so happy that the Nuggets won a championship and that their superstar Nikola Jokic just won it for them in a dominant fashion. He's asked about the parade. He's like, when is the parade? Thursday? Oh no, I have to get home. You fucking loser.
There's something wrong with them.
Sorry. If you're the NBA, you cannot thank God he is not the highest paid player in the league anymore. Yeah. And I used to criticize guys who didn't vote for him for MVP. Who didn't vote? Mark Jackson? Good for Mark Jackson.
Correct.
This guy's a loser.
We said it too. Do you remember we were saying like we didn't really watch this team? Maybe this is a real special team. You know when I watched in the finals? They're a boring fucking team.
Yeah.
I hated it.
Nikola Jokic. You know what? Go play pickleball in Serbia or whatever you're doing. Yeah. Where is he from? Who knows? Go start a pickleball league in Serbia. Get out of the NBA. Can we have a clip? The Denver Nuggets can finally call themselves NBA. Look at this. He's shaking hands right afterwards. No celebration.
NBA champion, Nikola. How does that feel?
It's good.
It's good.
The job is done. We can go home now.
I'm curious what you are feeling right now and if you're looking forward to a parade coming up in Denver.
When is parade? When is parade?
Thursday.
No. I need to go home.
Why are they laughing at that?
I think he's like quirky.
Look at him.
We won it, but I think it's not the most important thing in the world still. There is a bunch of things that I like to do. I mean, probably that's a normal thing, you know. Nobody likes his job, or maybe they do. They're lying.
All right. What he just showed you right there is that, for one, he's stealing money from the Denver Nuggets, from the NBA.
Yeah.
Nobody likes their job? So I get mad. when the NBA championship is won and the Stanley Cup is won around the same time every year, I have a history of comparing the two celebrations. The Stanley Cup, you're never going to get a better celebration than that. But the NBA, every single year, they find a way to one-up themselves on the worst celebration in the history of sports, but it will never get worse. I don't think it can get worse than this.
Can't.
Like, can it get worse than this? This was your highest paid player in NBA history before Jaylen Brown this week? Thank God Jaylen Brown just surpassed him on that. So we don't have to call this loser Nikola Jokic the highest paid player in the league. Stealing money from the league, not celebrating championships.
Barely a smile.
Like,
barely a smile.
He goes over. Imagine if the Stanley Cup was won, right? Imagine if that happened, right? Maybe we could tie in the Bergeron stuff with this. 2011, Bruins win the Stanley Cup, right? Imagine first thing Patrice Bergeron does as his teammates go celebrate with Tim Thomas in the net in Vancouver. Imagine if Patrice Bergeron takes his helmet off, puts it down, takes his gloves, gives his stick to nobody because everybody else is celebrating. Walks over to the Canucks, skates over the Canucks, and starts shaking everybody's hand. We'd be like, what? Is this guy on drugs? What is he doing? Well, that's the exact thing that Nikola Jokic did. He's going over. You see on the screen where he's hugging Jimmy Butler. It's like, dude, you just won the NBA championship. And then you're interviewed right after. How does it feel? Oh, it's good. The job is done. And then he's
like he made
stressing.
A sandwich. It sounded like he talked about a sandwich. He's like, yeah, it's just a sandwich. I made a sandwich.
The slice of pizza was good, Could have had a little more cheese.
Imagine being his team.
Less sauce, more cheese, but it's edible.
Imagine Marcus Smart being his teammate.
Dude.
Imagine. That's not working.
I put myself in the shoes of a fan. Yeah. If I was a Nuggets fan and I'm like in tears that we finally won it.
This loser
and
town of a
loser
team
is in a press conference going, I can't, the parade, the fans. He's basically saying, fuck the fans. I need to go home.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I haven't
couldn't
been
have
that
predicted
mad.
that one. Yeah.
Paul, I haven't been that mad in a long time. I mean, I get mad at the NBA celebrations anyways because they always do this thing where the MVP, they give out the MVP last.
Yeah.
That would be like, again, comparing it to the Stanley Cup, they give out the Stanley Cup, and then they go, and now the Conn Smythe winner for MVP. They give out the Conn Smythe, and the guy who wins it is like, somebody take this fucking thing.
Yeah.
It's way too big, first of all, the Conn Smythe. Like, can we get something a little smaller than this? I don't want this. I want that.
Yeah.
I want that. And you got to hoist that thing over your head. And it's just the complete opposite celebration every year to the NBA. But every year, the NBA seems to one-up itself with a worse and worse and worse celebration. But I just don't think anything's going to top Nikola Jokic. That is as bad human performance I've ever seen.
It seemed non-human biologic. That's what he seemed like.
He seemed like he was a non-human biologic in that moment. He basically was like, fuck the fans, fuck the organization. I don't love my job. Yeah, we got the job done. But I got to go home. Thanks, guys. But I've been here way too long. I have to go home.
I'm so sick of you all smell. There's a smell.
Like that's what he's saying.
ET phone home.
Oh man, that's crazy. I couldn't believe that. And I can't believe people like defend it. They're like, oh, he's just showing like he cares about other stuff other than basketball. It's like, well, you know what? I mean, in this moment, you fucking shouldn't.
And
how much do you pay for a ticket to get into the building for that championship?
Personally, it's good he has other things. I don't care about anything else other than basketball when I think of him. I don't think of anything else.
When my team's in the playoffs and they're about to win it.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah, I got work in the morning. Yeah, I got shit in my personal life going on. Yeah, shit around me sucks, but I am blocking. I'm in the moment right now. And then to be in that moment, you win it, and the guy that you love is like, I'd rather not be here. You're like, what? What? What's happening right now? This is the highest paid player in the league?
Can you fake it
in
for
the
3
history
more
of the
days?
league?
Can you fake it for 3 more days?
Yeah, he couldn't even fake
That's
it.
ridiculous.
What a loser.
Give us 3 days.
I hate him. I hate him.
them too.
Anyways, good for Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, exactly.
Good for Jaylen Brown. Surpassing that loser. And good, good for Jason Tatum. Next year, he'll get even larger contract. So great week for Jaylen Brown. Even better week for Jason Tatum. Not a great week for the Boston Bruins. Patrice Bergeron retires. I'm surprised. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I wrote a column on my website. You can read it, DannyPicard.com. It's right on the top. I posted it on social media too. Merci, Bergie. I told a little story behind the scenes of something that he did, which is very minor.
Classy guy.
And probably did it with a million other reporters in his time. But it's something that that Tom Brady would never do, David Ortiz would never do, the other stars, any of the teams that I covered would never do. And again, it's very minor, very like innocent, and you would think would be like normal thing to do. But take it from me, it's not. Patrice Bergeron is an anomaly. And it's sad to see him go. I thought when they brought Lucic back, on a 1-year deal, that was like, let's get the band back. Let's get him a little more protection. Let's get the band back together. But apparently not. Bergeron is done. And I'm going to assume that Krejci's probably done too.
Yeah, it seems like it.
And
Krejci looked more done last year. Bergeron looks like he could go for a few more years.
Who's the captain now? Marchand?
It's got to be. It has to be.
Marchand.
I almost feel bad about him because they're entering rebuild. There's part of me, because how much I love Brad Marchand, that they just I almost wish they would trade him to a contender and just say, like, because his age doesn't match up with the rebuild in my head. It makes me.
It's a tough sell.
I know what I'm saying. Like, and I don't think they wouldn't get enough back in a trade. But it's just maybe give me a new favorite team for a few years. And to send a guy off who should have more than 1 cup.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what you do. I'm not going to lie. I don't know. I think you just got to hope that.
Do you believe that they can build something though? Because I'm at a point where I'm like, I love Cam Neely. I'll always love Cam Neely, but Sweeney and Cam Neely, I don't know if it works as well as I want it to work.
Well, I think it just has to happen in the draft. And then you're asking me, am I confident in their drafting skills? No, I'm not. I'm not.
And then you waste Marchand's last years too doing that.
Yeah, I mean, hockey's a weird sport to project. We've had this core for the longest time.
Yeah.
And now that the core seems to be gone, for the most part. Well, I mean, you still have Pasternak, you still have Marchand, you still have Charlie McAvoy.
Yeah.
You still have, a goaltending duo that you think is going to be just as good. I don't want to say they have nothing, but
they got work to do.
The guys that we're used to seeing are gone.
And other people are going to have to step up, which I don't know if I've seen it.
But I think hockey is difficult to project, at least for me. And I consider myself a hockey guy, but I just think this, like, I don't follow college hockey or like the prospect game.
Yeah.
Because it's not as easy to follow as the prospect game in football or basketball. Like when you look at football teams or basketball teams, it's a lot in the NBA, NFL. It's a lot easier to project, like, oh, here's what we could do. Here's guys that we could get.
Yeah.
Hockey, I don't know. Like if you ask me who the top college player entering this coming season is, I have no idea.
No, me neither.
Who's the top prospect? I mean, the kid who Bedard got taken number 1. I still don't even know much about him.
Yeah. And you won't.
Outside of that, I don't know anyone. I don't know anyone who's playing in the queue right now who's a top prospect or in the WHL, USHL. I just don't know.
Yeah.
It's just they don't make that easy. You have to really go find that, and I don't.
And it's just such a different sport, like where you can't project as well. You can't say like this dominant guy is going to be dominant going forward. It's just it's why it's the best sport, really, in my opinion.
Team sport, but
it's a real team sport.
Here's what we can project. we can project what the Patriots, I mentioned football, it's easier to project NFL. We can project that the Patriots are going to have Mac Jones as their starting quarterback week 1. You joked at the beginning about Bailey Zappi and Zappy Mania, and I can do Zappy Mania all day. Let's go. We talked about last year. I think that Belichick, it was visible that he enjoys coaching Bailey Zappi.
Yeah.
Maybe a little more than he enjoys coaching Mac Jones. And you could question me on that all you want, because that seems to be subjective, right?
Yeah.
But I sent you an image of Mac Jones and the quote that he gave about his relationship with Bill Belichick at training camp the other day. And it was, and I'm paraphrasing, he said, I'm not paraphrasing, this is the exact words he used, I think we're good. You're Mac Jones. There have been reports of a little rift between you and the greatest coach of all time. You have a new season, a fresh start. You have your first media availability. And you're asked about your relationship with that coach. And your answer is, I think we're good. Like, bro, you're not good. If you just think you're good, if you're good with Bill Belichick, you will know you're good with Bill Belichick. You think you're good? Man. And you know what I absolutely hate with the Mac Jones stuff? And I heard, I heard Felger imply this the other day, where he's like, why can't Bill Belichick just be open about Mac Jones and say something positive about him and pump him up a little bit? Like, what? That's not what Bill Belichick does. That's not what he's ever done. And then people will counter that and they'll say, yeah, well, it's not Mac Jones' fault that Bill Belichick doesn't provide him any weapons. And I look at that too and I go, because we're obviously talking about DeAndre Hopkins ends up choosing the Titans over the Patriots, and you could argue all you want. Was that a Patriots decision? They didn't want to pay him. What was it? But I look at that argument, oh, they're not giving Mac Jones weapons, and I go, hindsight is 2020. Because are we calling, like, when you go back to, all right, who was Tom Brady's greatest weapon? Randy Moss.
It's got to be Randy Moss, yeah.
Didn't win a Super Bowl. Who ended up being one of his greatest weapons that we didn't think at the time was one of his greatest weapons? Julian Edelman. Julian Edelman was a quarterback at Kent State, and they turned him into a special teams wide receiver. He was covering Anquan Bolden as a defensive back in the 2011-2012 AFC Championship, whatever year that was, against Baltimore. And then he becomes a stud wide receiver, like superstar wide receiver. Arguably Tom Brady's greatest weapon.
Yeah.
When they had him going through that mix, so we they gave Brady the weapons. No, we weren't. Brady was winning. What my point is this. You got to stop bringing up the weapons at some point when you got a quarterback who was taken in the first round. Okay?
He's the weapon.
That's the weapon.
Yeah.
I want you taking somebody and then having us go, in hindsight, oh, that was a great weapon for you. Well, no, it wasn't at the time. The quarterback turned him into a great weapon. Like, let me ask you this. If Rob Gronkowski, and I know this is going to sound borderline blasphemous to Patriots fans, but I love Gronk. I love the Patriots. If Gronk and Edelman played for the Pittsburgh Steelers with Ben Roethlisberger, would they be Hall of Fame players? Because I think they're both Hall of Fame players.
Maybe Gronk, but no.
I don't even think Gronk.
Yeah.
I don't even think Gronk. I don't. So we're looking at a situation where the quarterback, and by the way, you could, in hindsight, oh, that's the greatest quarterback of all time. Okay, was he always the greatest quarterback of all time? No. Nobody thought he'd become the greatest quarterback of all time.
No.
6th round pick. Now we're talking about a 1st round pick and Mac Jones, and people are taking the opposite route to this discussion. When now we're gonna question the greatest coach of all time because he's not pumping up the 1st round pick. It's just the logic to the Mac Jones stuff will never make sense to me.
No.
And he's out there going, I think me and Bill Belichick are good, have a good relationship. It's like, bro, if you just think you have a good one, you don't have a good one. And when I hear that answer, I go, and I hear Belichick still do the whole, like, oh, you know, I trust everybody on this team and they wouldn't be on this team.
I think we're good.
And refuse to like give him that personal.
Yeah.
That's just Belichick being Belichick.
And also being a good coach, because I think he coaches to what a guy needs. And I don't believe that he needs accolades. I think he needs to shut up.
That's what I mean. I think Bill Belichick probably feels like this kid is getting too much of it on the outside.
Yeah.
He's got every reporter and their mother sniffing his jockstrap after practice and on Twitter.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the guy. How could you go with Bailey Zappi? Yeah. I mean, you see it now.
Well, every single day
on Twitter during training camp.
Every day there's a quote from a different player where they pull you could feel that they're pulling the quote out of him. They're probably asking, how is Mac looking? Or how something like that. And every single person saying, great leadership, great zing on the ball.
Yeah, yeah. It's
everyone. But you can feel like they're just, that's the first question they're asking every single time. To write their article easier, because that's what they're already saying.
They're going into it like Mac Jones is the guy. Anything else is crazy. We have to defend this kid till the cows come home. And I don't know why they have this logic. It's mind-blowing to me. But that's where we're at. Mac Jones is going to be the starter week. Like, he's going to be starter all season.
He's the guy. Yeah, he's the guy.
And look, I'd love to see him be the guy and be a superstar. I just feel like we've seen enough where I'm not there with him.
This is the last year. Nobody can, after this year, depending on what happens either way, there's no more extra chances, because there's still like a little bit of doubt from last year. They say no good coordinator, all that. The same thing they've beat over and over, but this is the last year. No excuses. And not even last year. 6 games.
Yeah.
We'll know everything. We'll know everything.
I'm looking at my trusty notes.
I think we caught up to most of this stuff.
See what we needed to do. We needed to get on here and talk about non-human biologics. We needed to talk about seagulls attacking people at Sully's. We needed to talk about the Jaylen Brown contract. We had to mention Mac Jones in training camp and how the media still is just obsessed with him. And the Bergeron retirement. And then the other thing, as we get closer to the trade deadline, I guess this is it. We'll wrap it up with this. The Major League Baseball trade deadline. I'm glad that the Angels have come out and said they're not going to trade Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, they're going to do a playoff push. Thank you.
I mean, what I want to know with the Angels is, are you trying to sign him to a contract extension or no?
Doesn't feel like it. Doesn't feel like it.
Because I would be throwing him under the bus. Because if you lose Shohei Ohtani, that is a major failure. That's embarrassing for the organization. It's embarrassing for the league.
Yep.
You have a team in LA that could keep one of the most special talents he's a once in a lifetime talent. He pitches, he hits, he does it all. And you were talking about trading him? Like, you've had him for what, 5 years? You never made a serious run? Like, it's a joke. You have Mike Trout with him, and you're still not making a run? That's embarrassing. And then you would just ship him off before trying to even sign him to a contract? Look, I know he wants a lot of money and a historic deal.
But he also is a historic player.
But I mean, who?
He's the most exciting player.
If someone's going to give it to him, why wouldn't it be you if you're the Angels?
It makes no sense. Other than the fact that you're happy collecting your checks and you don't really care about winning. That's all it is. Keep enough asses in the seats.
He's going to be a free agent. But if I were the Angels, here's how I'd be handling this. We're not trading him right now. And here's the other thing we're leaking out. We're trying to sign him to an extension. I mean, I would try to... he's 29 years old, right? He's 29. Why... I guess I just haven't heard the report that because the way I would be, and maybe this is that mentality of it's a cold world, be colder, but I would try to sign him. I would offer him, he wants $500 million. I would offer him $400.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money. And then if he rejects that, I would leak that to the media. Because there's no way we're going to lose a historic player like that and have it look like, we're not trying to bring him back or we're looking to trade him. So I'm glad they pulled him off the trade market because you're telling people we're not trading Shohei Ohtani. It's ridiculous. But now you have to tell the media and tell the fans, well, we're trying to sign him to a mega deal, a monster contract. And if they don't try to do that, then that's crazy and it's embarrassing.
It's a generational player.
So I haven't heard the report. I don't know where they stand on that. But I'm glad they're not going to trade him. I think that would be an embarrassing look for the league.
It would. It would make it feel like it's non-competitive. That's what it would make it feel like.
Yeah. And the Red Sox, I mean, look, I'd like the Red Sox to trade for him.
Of course. They already said they're not. I heard a couple.
That's not happening.
I heard a couple.
They just traded Kike to LA. They keep wearing these yellow uniforms and they're winning. They're on the West Coast now. They're above 500.
Yeah, they can sneak in the playoffs.
Because of the additions, the expansion of the playoffs. I mean, they're still in fourth or fifth place in the division. It's them and the Yankees at the bottom, which is humorous, and they're both still potentially in playoff contention as we get into the month of August. But we got the trade deadline. I don't know what the Red Sox are going to do.
It's not been the year you wanted, but it's been fun. I've liked part of this season more than I've had.
I just wish Nate Eovaldi was on the team still. I wish Chris Sale was healthy.
Yeah, but you knew that's the Porzingis of the pitching staff.
And, I wish they had Bogarts.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
There's just something missing with this team that has prevented me from really going all in. And I know you're going to think I'm crazy with this one, but I'll say it again. I don't know if people see it or what. You can see it more when they're wearing the home white jerseys at Fenway.
Oh.
The lights.
Still.
They changed the lights, man.
Yeah.
And it's messing with my eyes. It just doesn't look right. It has a yellowish effect.
Yeah.
It does. You can see when they wear the home whites.
Yeah, you're right.
It has a yellow. You know what it is? It feels like, it looks like they put a dome on Fenway.
It does a little bit.
And it looks like, no one's going to get this. Local hockey players will get this. It looks like they went from playing with the lighting at the Southie rink to playing with the yellow lighting at Neponset.
Yeah. I remember.
That's, how you get in some of those rinks and it's
lights.
yellow?
Yeah.
That's what it looks like they did to Fenway. And I can't wrap my brain around why they did it. It looks terrible. Maybe, am I the only one that sees this?
It looks different. I don't know if it looks terrible, but it definitely,
I think it looks
noticeably different. Yeah.
You can see it more when they wear the home white because the home white jerseys look like they're they have a beige color now. I'm like, what? What's happened? Why did we do this? Fenway to me was just it had the perfect look, and you messed with the look. Now they're going to add buildings behind the green monster.
Yeah, it's going to be weird.
Just build a new ballpark at this point. Just give us the dome.
That'd be sad to lose it, but you're not wrong. It's sad though. It's
already lost almost.
Yeah.
Well, once they put buildings up behind the green monster, it's over.
Giant.
Who wants to look at that?
I know. That's what it is.
Are those going to be? What are those going to be? Hotels?
I think it's a mixed space, but yeah.
You're going to do what Toronto does, where you're in the hotel room looking out at the outfield. All right, that's what we got. You got anything else? We got to wrap this up with anything?
No, I think we got it all. We caught up.
We covered it. If the aliens, if the non-human biologics don't get us, we'll be back next time. Follow me on Instagram. I'll try to keep you updated on Broadway Golf Club. I don't know. We're working through some stuff. It's going to happen. It's just there are some delays. I apologize for that. Get the show, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube.
Give us a thumbs up or a comment.
Yeah, hit the like button. Get us into the algorithm.
Play with the algorithm, please.
So many people that somebody, and I don't mean to knock them, but I posted something recently and someone was like, "Oh, I ended up clicking on your story, on the link," and I'm like, "Well, I fucking hope you would." That's putting us in the algorithm.
Yeah.
Even if you don't listen to the whole thing, if you're don't have time, just click it for me.
Yeah.
People I know are not clicking this stuff? No, what do you mean? You click it. Get me in the algorithm. That's how this thing works.
It's free.
Come on, help me out here. Get us in the algorithm. Until next time, I'm out. See ya.